Hey folks, we're back today to finish up our trilogy of the North Sea.
Yep.
I'm here with Owen, and we're going to finish up with Raiders of the North Sea. Now, this is by far the one of these games that got the most attention, both in design and in people's appreciation. Also in expansions. This one got 2 expansions, right?
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. They got these individual games got individual expansions as well. Oh,
in fact, I forgot to mention on the shipwrights one. I forgot to mention it came with. They now come with an expansion. Originally, that little board at the top it didn't come with, and that was added in later because it was so essential. It was like an essential expansion, but in the copy I got, it came with it, so I didn't realize it was even extra. But it was definitely very necessary in the game. I think that game would really be terrible without it.
Yeah.
With it, it was quite enjoyable. Without it, I think there would be a lot of times where you didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, it definitely made it more interesting. So it's a necessity.
So this got a big box expansion. It got another expansion that kind of extends the bottom of the board, and another one that kind of goes onto the side of the board. I don't know much about those. I've chosen to just keep with the base game for now and play it and enjoy it that way. I don't know how essential it is. I know people said the other ones were definitely essential, but and there's one for explorers too. But if I'm afraid if I buy any more, I'll end up just buying the big box and then.
I thought you already got the big box.
No, not yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
I love a big box.
Big empty box with nothing in it but space.
Yeah, then you must fill it with expansions.
Yeah.
Built for opportunities to grow. So this is a fairly old game that we're talking about now, but it just goes to show you that there's a lot of there's so many games, and comes down to you just don't have a lot of time.
Right.
And so eventually you get to them, and then you're like, oh, it's amazing. And everybody's like, yeah, we've known that for years.
But it's great to revisit some of these games, and especially when you've had all these new games, these new shiny games that are coming out on Kickstarter that everybody's grabbing, and then you are staying current with all that, and you go back and you play a game that's been out for a long time like this, and people still wonder, does the game hold up? And Raiders holds up. It's worth playing. It's worth keeping in your collection, even without knowledge of the expansions.
We're going to play it one more time to kind of freshen it up in our minds, and then we'll return with our final verdict, which should be really obvious.
Yeah, we like it.
We like it. Damn it! He beat me again. Oh,
that was a shellacking.
Oh, and that's I don't know what's that, 7 times in a row.
I don't know. We're talking about from Raiders. This is only the second time beat you at Raiders. You can look at it that way.
I'm talking about every game we played. I beat you at Cascadia, so it's not been a complete.
You did get me at Cascadia.
My goodness, one day we're gonna find the game that I'm super good at. We obviously just finished and had a good time. Owen is a very worthy opponent. I feel fortunate to be challenged in the ways that you challenge me.
Thank you, sir.
This is a worker placement game. There are limited resources. There's what would you? I guess you're kind of gather enough resources to go get more points.
Yeah. It's all about finding that efficiency with the items that you need to go raiding, and so raiding's what gives you most consistent points. But there's certainly other ways to get points that can be a little sneaky sometimes if people aren't paying attention. You get points for your people actually dying in raids, and if you get to the top of the point track, it's like an additional 15 points, which is pretty good chunk. But what I've found with the game is that you really have to kind of watch what your opponent's doing, because if they start going for raids, you can't sit back and get set up, because especially in the beginning, some of the easy to get to raids are going to have a lot of resources that are going to allow you to get beefed up throughout the rest of the game. And if they start raiding and you don't go raiding right with them, and they just gobble up all those easy harbor points or whatever, then they're going to get a big boost in the beginning, because those resources you get in the beginning are going to allow you to go to those really the higher point grabbing raids. Harbors don't give you a whole lot on their own, so those are the first raiding locations that you get to. But as soon as you start getting back further on the board, you start getting some really big points if you get yourself set up for it.
The other thing too is these cards that represent the people on in your crew, or the people in the town, I guess at times, they have two abilities. One of them is an ability that you get when they're locked into your crew, and the other thing is kind of a passive ability. And I noticed that most of these abilities get in other people's way. Mm-hmm. So another thing you can do to help if somebody's starting to you can start chipping away at their resources a little bit, mm-hmm. and make it harder or more expensive for them to maneuver, and maybe put them off for a few minutes while you get set for what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You also have to build up power. Like each of these guys has a strength amount at the top, and as you get to the top of the board, it becomes more and more important to have your armor beefed up, or your power level beefed up, so you can get the bigger points.
Yeah, you can still attack these other places, but if you don't reach that point value when you attack them, then you don't get the point. Do you still get the item? We didn't run into a situation where we didn't at least get the lowest value on each one of these attack locations, but do you still get the resources when you attack? Do you just lose the points? I don't remember if you get that or not.
Yeah, I think you just, if you don't reach the points value, you just don't get the points. You still get.
But you can still get the resources.
Yeah, you still got to put down and pick up.
Yeah, because you're putting the person down. So that's one of the most unique things about the game as far as worker placement goes, is that every turn you're going to begin with one worker in your hand, and you're going to end with one worker in your hand. So it's not one of those games where you're just gathering up a bunch of workers or buying workers to help with your engine throughout the game. You're going to first put a worker down, and then you're going to pick up a worker, and both of those things are going to activate locations, which can make some fun interactions sometimes when you're trying to block somebody off from doing something, which honestly I didn't even think about that once during this game, but I've definitely had games where I was like, well, I'm going to put my guy here so that they can't do that thing they're wanting to do on the board, because the first thing they have to do is put something down. So if what they're wanting to do is build somebody at the barracks, and they don't have the resources for it, and you leave your character in the spot where they need the resources or whatever, you can set yourself up in a way where they aren't, or maybe you leave your character in the barracks, so they have to. Trying to think how I'm trying to word this. There is a way that you can set it up where
you can get in the way.
Yeah, you can get in the way. That's what I'm trying to say. Where they have to do one thing before they can do the other thing, and so they're not able to get maybe the resources they need in order to complete a task that they need to do on that turn.
Yeah, I think the theme worked out pretty good on this too. I like the idea of, like, you're down in the village, kind of gathering your strength. You're getting people together. You're getting gold, you're building up your armory, you're doing all this stuff, and then you start to kind of venture out, and you have these kind of smaller areas, and then as you go further out, things get more and more difficult and are a little bit more expensive with provisions and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think thematically it works well, and I love the idea of kind of like starting off here at the bottom with just kind of like what feels like you're kind of creeping along at the beginning.
You're building up. You do have to get ready to create some kind of an engine, and every game there's going to be enough variability in the game because all of these resources are so randomized, and some of the quote-unquote resources are what they call Valkyries, which would just mean those are people that die. So some of the resources you gather mean your guys get killed, and so sometimes you have to plan like, oh, I'm going to get a bunch of cheap guys out really quick because I know they're going to die anyway, so I might as well put the weakest characters out that I can that don't cost hardly any silver, and then just let them get blasted off whenever we go into one of these sections. Like one of these sections here shows 3 people are going to die. You can only have 5 people in your whole party, and it takes a whole turn to put one person out. So it's like that's a huge blow if you did that in the beginning. But if you do it later in the game, I actually was thinking hard about doing that because Sean got all the way to the top the Valkyrie track, which means that he had at least 8 people die during the game, and that means he got an additional 15 points. So that's a good little chunk. So a lot of situational things that will make the experience fresh enough each time you play it, so it doesn't. I mean, you're still playing Raiders, of course, but the experience on the board, you're always going to have to change your strategy as you go and just from the get-go as the board's laid out.
Yeah, it does kind of present you with some available resources, and it's all about managing that and optimizing your actions, just like any good Euro game is. You optimize your actions to get points, and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, and it works great as a 2-player game. We played, well, I think I've only played at 2 and 4 because we played 4 at our meetup, and
I can't remember. Like, I guess with 4 people, it was a little bit more involved. There's a lot more people in the way.
Yeah, I enjoy it both ways. I think that at 2 players, it's a great kind of head-to-head thing going on. And then, again, haven't played it at 3 players, but I would imagine it's not that far off from playing it at 4, where you're really having to be like, okay, everybody's going raiding. We got to go raiding. It doesn't matter what else you wanted to do. You can't like stop and just keep building up your party. You're like, all right, we're all going to grab these as quick as possible. And one of the other things that goes on is there's a lot of cards that say, like this one says, if you use the spending action where you just discard the card, you force all opponents to lose 1 provision. So if you're playing a 4-player game, it's a lot more impactful if you can hit everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And you have other ones that give you, like, everybody gives you a silver or something like that. And so you have situations where you're actually going to have an easier time or get a better bonus off of having more players. So there's that too.
Yeah, it's a much less impact when it's just one other person.
Right. Yeah, some of the times I was just doing that just to annoy Sean. I was like, I don't even need this. I'm just going to put this here just to pester him.
Yep, but I would say overall it's a fun game. If you like Euros, you're definitely going to like this one. I think anyway. This one's got a little bit of age on it. It's been around a while. I enjoy this game quite a bit. It's got metal coins. That's kind of a neat thing that you don't see in older games. Like that.
Yeah. Now, if you get the
So there's a Target.
So not trying to just immediately knock on Target, because they usually have some pretty nice. They have they're working on their board game, but they have I think they call it the Viking Edition game, which makes you think, oh, that's a cool idea, and it just means that they put more cardboard instead of like the higher. I think they do cardboard coins on that one. It might be cheaper than other retail.
Is there anything
spots,
else that's different?
It's basically just a cheaper production of the same game.
Huh.
But it's the Viking edition, so it's a selling point. I don't know.
Well,
You'd think this one would be the Viking edition with the nice coins that come with it, but
well, they had to put some sort of edition on it.
Yeah.
Like, what do we call it? I don't know. They're Vikings. Viking edition.
Viking
it is.
Edition it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but the component quality is nice. The artwork, of course, is great. We've already decided we love this guy's art. I think a lot of people have. And even the translation to the board is better on this one. Like, I love the artwork of this board. The board is kind of really long, which means that you're constantly you always have to physically get up to kind of move your points around the top.
Yeah.
I don't tend to like boards that are vertical like that, but at least it's pretty. And it's super, super easy to pick up. Like, this is a great, like, it's not a gateway game, but it is right up there, right after the gateway game. Like, as soon as somebody starts to really show some interest in Euros, this is a good one to pull out and show them.
Yeah, I would kind of put it at that like heavier end of, like, I would still consider it a light, like the heaviest of the light games, maybe the lightest of the medium games, or something like that.
Well, it's like the rules are simple and intuitive, and because of that, even though there's a lot of complexity in the way the cards work and your options for points, I feel like it's easy to teach.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I gauge everything.
Right. Yeah. It's easy to make like a choice on the game now. Just like any game, you can have some pretty like lengthy thought processes if you really want to, but there's only so many things you can do. You've only got one worker in hand, and so you've got 2 actions that you're going to get to do on each turn. So there's not that much you can do. You're just kind of limited. Sometimes you have to say, well, it's going to take me a few turns to do what I want to do, so I'll do this, and meanwhile he'll get to take, the other person's there's going to get to take their actions, and so
it leaves you with a lot of tension too.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause you're like, oh, am I going to have time to even get this done?
Yeah.
The answer's no. You will not have time. Trust me. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up right there. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you stayed to the end, we really appreciate it. Go ahead and click like if you liked this video. Hit subscribe. We'd love to see you again. Leave a comment and let me know if this was your favorite of the Raiders or the North Sea series. Until next time, enjoy your games, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Take care.
Okay, 3, 2. Hey, folks. Oh God, I'm missing. Oh yeah.
I want to see just a string of those in one of your videos. And then you just laying back trying to gather yourself. Like, oh God, here we go.
To the moon. 3. 3, 2.